At the start of the story, we see some birds flying around in a city known as the Ares Empire. This city is very calm and peaceful. There's also a statue of some warrior riding a horse with a sword in his hand. One of the soldiers saying to the other guy that this city is so peaceful. The other soldier sighs and says that nobody knows when the revolutionaries will act up again. He also adds that they are some losers and they won't be able to do anything. The blonde soldier says that maybe they realized that their rebellion was pointless. The old geezer replies saying maybe the Empire's knight took care of them. Looking towards the knight's statue, he says, "I hope it stays this way." But it won't stay like this for long as the revolutionaries plan to kill the king and bring down the empire. The leader of the revolutionary army says to the redhead that his role in this mission is the most important. He orders the redhead to protect the secret text at all costs. The redhead nods in approval of it and says that he's aware of the secret text and will protect it no matter what. As the meeting ends, his friend follows him and says to him that he's indeed patriotic. With a serious look on his face, the redhead asks his friend what he meant. His friend replies, saying, "Countless people were sacrificed while protecting the secret text from the Empire. Whoever possesses that book makes him the #1 target of the Empire's military. Despite knowing this, you are taking the risk to protect the book." The redhead gives him a side eye and says that you make it sound like I volunteered for this role. In reply, his friend says, "Of course it's because you're fluent in the ancient language, but protecting it without any complaints is patriotic enough." The redhead tells him to stop his nonsense as he is indirectly insulting the other comrades. He says that this isn't about patriotism but revenge. Looking back at his past, the redhead was a loser who lost to his younger brother in combat. His younger brother was a genius who surpassed him just by training for 3 years only. Whereas, despite training for 10 years, he couldn't win against his younger brother. He is shocked by what just happened. Few years later, he poisoned his younger brother. Upon hearing this, his father got enraged with anger. Logan had a regretful look on his face, but the damage was already done and his father kicked him out of the house. He realized what he had done was so wrong and he did it out of inferiority complex. His father disowned him and kicked him out of the house. After that incident, he left the family and became a mercenary. 10 years later, he came back, but it was too late as the palace had been burned. Rumors spread around that there was going to be a public hanging that day, and the prisoner was his younger brother. Upon hearing this, Logan ran off in search of his younger brother. As he runs off, he prays for his brother to stay alive as he has something to tell. But it was too late and his brother got executed. The executioner was very happy as he lifted the head of Logan's younger brother for everyone to see. The people of the Empire was very happy upon the execution of Logan's younger brother. Logan couldn't hold back his tears. As it was raining, his tears got mixed up with raindrops and it looked like he wasn't crying. That was the day he had decided to take revenge on the Empire for killing his family and taking away his chance to beg for forgiveness. Coming back to present timeline, we can see on a full moon night some soldiers are chasing after Logan. Being cornered, Logan has no choice but to fight back. A dog of the Empire found him out. Having no choice but to fight, he tightens his grip on the sword to fight. The dog of the Empire charges towards him with pointy part of the sword. Logan manages to block his attack and pushed him off. He slit his throat and the soldier was having mental breakdown from blood loss. Watching his comrade die, the other soldier lost his mind as well. The other soldier charged toward him and followed the same fate as his comrade. Logan's body was full of blood from slashing the soldiers. He could only think of one thing, that is to kill more Empire dogs. The redhead protagonist got surrounded by many soldiers. They ask him about the whereabouts of the secret book. Having no way out, he thinks if this is the day he dies. With a smirk on his face, he lets go of the sword. He grabs a blue ball out of nowhere and with an evil smile he says, "Let's all die." A very bright red light lit up the room, taking out all soldiers in the room, including himself. As he dies, in his mental state, he recalls how he had lived his life full of revenge. but he is happy that before his death he was able to kill many Empire dogs. The only regret he had was not being able to beg for forgiveness to his family. As he dies, he hopes of meeting his family in the afterlife, hoping that he will be able to beg for forgiveness in there. All of a sudden, he gasps for breath in his bedroom. He's having a very bad headache, but then he realized how could his head hurt if he's no longer alive. Then all of a sudden, a random guy appears and calls him young master. He realized that this man is his servant named Rick, but what he doesn't understand that his servant Rick died 30 years ago. So he asked his servant how is he still alive. Upon hearing this, his servant is shocked and angry at the same time. He tells everyone to bring the doctor as the young master may have hurt his head very badly. Looking outside the window, Logan notices that there are his family's symbol everywhere. He thinks if it is reality or just a dream. Then a young guy comes in his room calling him as brother. Upon hearing this familiar voice, his body goes numb. The young guy is none other than his younger brother Ronan. To him this scene felt familiar. It was from the moment when his younger brother came to visit him after defeating him in a duel. But back then, he hit his brother with a pillow and told him that he's nothing more than a son of a concubine. His head was paining from recalling all the past memories. The servant told Ronan to back off as Logan needs more rest. But this time Logan told it's okay and told him to come closer. Hearing this, Ronan was surprised and happy as well. On the other side, the servant was very confused as this is very unusual of Logan to get along with his younger brother. Ronan apologizes, saying he should have been more careful. Logan replied, "It's okay, you did nothing wrong. Rather, he should be the one apologizing." In that moment, a bunch of thoughts crossed his mind and his head filled with regrets. He felt ashamed of himself for killing a kind soul. He then apologized to his younger brother and hugged him very tightly. Looking at his older brother cry, Ronan also could not hold his tears back. Ronan was very happy and told his brother that he would come to visit him again. Logan agreed to it and told him to get some rest for now. He gets a hold of the situation and decides that he would do everything right this time if all of this isn't a dream. Right at that moment, a servant of his comes running to him gasping for breath and apologizes to him. He is confused as to why his servant is apologizing. We learn that the name of the servant is Mary and she apologizes for getting the rooms confused. He told them it's fine and to bring him a pen and paper. After Rick brought pen and paper, Logan thanked him and told him to make sure nobody else entered his room at this moment. Rick was shocked from Logan's kindness, so he asked if his head still hurts. In an angry voice, Logan told Rick that he was fine and to get out of his room. Hearing this, Rick was relieved as Logan was back to normal. Logan feels annoyed by Rick's behavior, but he tries to stay calm as these are the consequences of his own action done in his previous life. He tries to recall all the disasters that would bring down his family, starting with the war against the Empire. He says to himself that preventing the war against the Empire is his only goal. Just at the moment when he was about to write something on this blank paper, he recalled something more important that would happen in the coming years which would partially destroy his family. So he decided to try and prevent that war first. After a while, we see a chessboard lying on top of a table with all the chess pieces in place. Someone knocked at the door of that room, a mysterious guy with a cape looking outside through the window. The person who knocked at the door calls him as Patriarch. He mentions that the first young master had come to see him. The red-bearded guy was surprised that his son Logan had come to see him as it's very unusual of him. If you would like recaps of the next chapters, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching.